Good ground makes everything else just a minor detail. I will mine in hell if the ground's good.
Parker Schnabel has been the driving force behind Gold Rush Alaska, and all the adrenaline junkies love to watch him to go to any length for gold. Parker gave us some pretty intense moments on the show where we almost felt like he's gonna break down. But that didn't happen, and it tells us how little we know about the Gold Rush sensation, Parker Schnabel. Parker seems to be the adventurous type and doesn't share much on the show, so his fans are genuinely excited to know more about his life and how he spends his days when he's not mining gold. So let's get into it and find out 10 things you didn't know about Parker Schnabel.
I hate being in this situation, but it seems like I constantly find myself in this kind of situation.
It's actually interesting to know that the guy who's famous for mining across the world didn't make it to the School of Mines. He applied for this renowned mining school when he was still a senior in high school, and he figured that because he has great grades and he's already part of Gold Rush that he'll get in. But interestingly, they straight up denied him, and he never made it to mining school. He still recollects this memory and laughs about how confident he was that he'll get in, but they never contacted him for coming back despite his diverse mining background. But it's fair to say he did spend most of his college fund on mining. Since Parker was very young, his parents and grandpa wanted him to attend college. They continued to save a lot of money for him. And considering how his grandfather was also a successful miner, the money turned out to be pretty much enough for any college in the world. But Parker had some other plans. He got the ownership of his college fund after John Schnabel left the family business, and as soon as he got his hands on the funds, he knew what he had to do. Parker didn't want a fancy degree. Instead, he needed a whole lot of money to boost up his mining career because initially, you need a lot of money for that. So, Parker spent all the money of his college fund on his mining equipment and other endeavors, but this wasn't all pointless because he's gotten a lot of money even from mining. For instance, he found gold worth $55,000 in Season 2, and this pushed his career on an upward trajectory. But if you think this kind of money would have made the guy really stuck up, well, you might be mistaken. The guy doesn't even own a house. On Gold Rush, it seems like Parker spends so much of his money on his adventures, considering how he once got into an accident while riding a jet boat. A lot of the fans believe that Parker spends a lot of money on such lavish purchases and has a home that gives a complex even to the Kardashians. After all, he's got a lot of gold up his sleeve. However, it might shock you to know that Parker doesn't have a home. He's practically a wanderer and lives in hotels or tents while he's trying to find gold from the most underrated sites in the country. It's bizarre considering how the man actually earns thousands of dollars, not just from his mining, but also from all the shows and interviews he does. And yet, he doesn't have a home and isn't planning on buying one either. He explained at one instance that he prefers to buy dozers from his money and isn't ready to buy a house as of now because nothing tickles his fancy and he hasn't found the perfect match. It surely seems like Parker needs more mining equipment than he needs a place to live. And his super busy schedule doesn't just interfere with his personal life but also his love life because there's been a lot of trouble in Parker and Ashley's paradise lately. When Ashley entered the show in Season 8, fans were shocked to see the romantic side of Parker. Ashley became his girlfriend and it was soon revealed that the two have been together since 2016. She continued to appear in a lot of episodes in Season 8, but when Season 9 aired, Ashley was nowhere to be found. Parker didn't talk about it for a long time, although everyone was curious about what exactly happened between them. So, Parker Schnabel finally took a moment and addressed all these people who were generally worried about the couple. He said that he's broken up with Ashley and it's because of him. He also added that the relationship was never actually a priority for him and he continued to give more importance to his career in comparison to Ashley, who deserves some attention to say the least. He also added that he believed that Ashley deserves someone who could give her 100%, and that's why they decided to part ways. Reports were that they were planning to walk down the aisle, but the breakup surely put a stop to that. And talking about weddings, do you know whose wedding Parker wasn't invited to? Monica and Parker Schnabel seemed pretty close, so when Monica announced her marriage, everyone figured that Parker's gonna be there too. However, that's not what Monica planned. After Parker was nowhere to be found in Monica's wedding photos, everyone started asking questions, and that's when he decided to give things a new turn. Parker posted on his social media and tagged Monica to say that he never got a wedding invite in a very teasing way. But this made Monica really embarrassed, and she had to clear the air by saying that they were getting married in a very private setting and there was no one other than family and friends. But Monica also said that she did invite him to the reception, and on this, fans pointed out that Parker might still be a little bitter about Monica getting married to someone else. Interestingly, there were rumors that Monica is actually dating Parker a while back, so it's fair to assume that Parker wasn't over her. It was also reported that he didn't attend a reception or party either because there's nothing on social media about it. People are saying that the two were beefing, but there are no reports of it. What's actually reported is the infamous beef of Parker with the cameraman of the show. Now, before Parker became a regular on the show, he really liked James Lavelle, the cameraman of Gold Rush. But as soon as he started to work with Lavelle regularly, he realized that the guy is not legit. Parker publicly said that he doesn't like the cameraman of the show, which is a huge thing to say. Although Parker never openly talked about the actual reason for this beef, he did say that they never really hit it off because of their personalities, and there are a few very inappropriate things that Lavelle did, and Parker didn't like them one bit. So they decided to maintain their distance. But even to this day, Parker doesn't really get along with James Lavelle, and that's probably all for the right reasons. But Lavelle isn't the only arch nemesis of Parker, as he doesn't get along with Todd either. Even after working together for several years, the rivalry between Parker and Todd continues to amaze everyone. Parker and Todd never got along well, and even after Todd left the show, the bitterness between the two remained the same. He even said in a show that they don't really go out together, and since Todd has left the show, they haven't talked much. Parker would probably be happy that his arch nemesis isn't a big problem for him anymore. The real problem now is managing the whole business 24/7. Parker Schnabel believes that the most difficult part of his job isn't gold mining at all. His fans believe that it takes a lot of hard work and mental strain to actually do the job he does, but he's now spoken up and has said that his job isn't as difficult as a gold miner. But the difficult part actually is the management. He believes that it surely takes a village to run a successful mining business, because you have to manage people 24/7 and you can't take any breaks, or else your operations will be affected. This surely doesn't sound like a treat. And given that Parker has a big team with really heavy equipment, he always has to micromanage everything. And talking about equipment, can you guess the total cost of Parker's massive machines? Parker isn't wrong to say that the mining business isn't for struggling people, because it requires you to buy pretty expensive and heavy machinery. And the best example for that, obviously, is the college fund incident, where Parker spent so much money only on equipment. Even the mining equipment they use on the show costs so much that a lot of people are shocked. Reports actually revealed that the heavy machinery on the show cost them more than $500,000. Also, it's really expensive to get legal permission to mine in every site, so it's just a very hectic process for miners and costs quite a lot. Although all this isn't a problem for Parker anymore, and let's find out why. Parker Schnabel lives a wandering life, but that doesn't mean he has no money. In fact, he even grew up rich because of his family's mining ventures, and even when Parker was in his 20s, he was making good money for himself and was financially stable. Parker's net worth currently is estimated to be somewhere close to $10 million, and it's quite a lot, considering how even some A-list stars don't have this kind of money. But he spends most of his net worth on buying new equipment for mining and doesn't really live a luxury life that most people would be expecting from him. He doesn't even have a fancy car or a huge and expensive house, which tells us a lot about his priorities.